Hey everybody, welcome to Tough Guys TV. On this episode, we're going to be putting some fake shiplap on the walls using plywood, and we've seen some other videos on YouTube, so we figured why not show you guys how we do our process. And I'm just going to start by showing you guys what we bought and what we are going to use to do the install. The video itself is going to be pretty straightforward and simple because there just really isn't that much to this. The fans are in the shop, so I'm kind of having to shout, so I apologize if I'm blowing you away with that. Anyways, don't forget, check us out on social media at Tough Guys TV everywhere, and let's get right into what we're doing. So these are strips of 1/4 inch sanded plywood that we got from Home Depot, and they actually will do this for you at the Home Depot, at least the ones here in near Dallas, Texas. And here's that machine at Home Depot that you can cut your plywood on and get somebody to help you. You basically just set this up and you set the panels in, and then you cut them in strips. And we just had them cut them into 8-inch strips. This is the equivalent of 4 sheets of plywood, and we just measured out what we needed. And basically, these just get nailed to the wall, and we use a nickel to space them out to make them have that shiplap look. And then on the back side of them, I'm gonna be using some liquid nail for paneling. That's the kind I've always used. We've done this 2 other times in the house. And I've always bought this same stuff. These are like $1.90 each or something like that. That's basically the material. As far as the rest of the install tools, I will show you guys here inside in just a sec. All right, welcome to our laundry room. We've got the flooring all torn out. It had this nasty linoleum. There's our dog Ruka. How's it going? We're gonna be using an air compressor with a 2-inch brad nailer, and basically strips on this wall, on this little part right there. That's the old HVAC closet, and it's not in there anymore. It's in the attic, so we're gonna turn that into a pantry. Then over here, there's some more cabinets that obviously will not have the shiplap on those. We're gonna do a little bit up there. This is where the washer and dryer go. And then this wall here is gonna get the shiplap too. We gotta take this thing down, little clothes rack thing we put in there. So that's basically the room. And we're using our Freeman 2-inch brad nailer. And this thing is just a regular old air nailer, nothing fancy here. It's a 2-inch brad nailer. And for the nails, we've got some DeWalt, and we're gonna use 1.5 inch. It's probably overkill, but I have so many of these nails here. You could probably get away even with a 1 inch or 1.25 inch. I'm gonna check my pressure to make sure I'm not blowing all the way through these 1/4 inch pieces of plywood. And that's pretty much it. The adhesive will go on the back side before we stick it on the wall, and then basically just using some brad nails to put in there before you paint it. And that's how it goes on. Another important tool to have is a 4-foot level for something like this, or just as big of a level as you can get. This is a Cobalt one we got from Lowe's. Had it for a while, and it's held up really well. It's just good to put it, up on the wall as you're attaching your first couple of pieces to make sure you have level. And then basically you're just using the spacers as you go down the wall to create level. And here's our air compressor. We've got 150 PSI. It's a Porter cable. Had this thing for like 10 years. It works really well. I wanna make sure that I've got my regulator pressure about where I need it. I like it around 70 for that 2-inch brad nailer. Check your nailer. They all have their own settings, so make sure you have it right before you start going. And a quick tutorial to get the caulking set up. If you are somebody who's never done this before, this is super easy. Most caulk guns that I've ever owned will have a cutter. It says spout cutter right there. And basically when I pull this back here, you want to make sure you have some slack in it. When I pull that handle, the blade comes forward. So for something like this, I want a good amount coming out. So put that in there, cut it. And now the end of that thing is opened up, as you can see. Super easy. There's the piece that actually came off. And as a secondary thing, depending on which type of caulk gun you have, this one has it up here by the handle. Some of it will hide it up here at the top. This thing is used to puncture the tube so that you actually have something flowing out of it. If you've used it a few times, it can get gunked up. Just use a knife to get it out of there. And once it's free, then you can push it through. Make sure that you've got that punctured. Can see that in there. If you don't do that and you put it in the caulk gun and you start wrenching it down, you're going to just blow out the bottom of it and it's going to leak out everywhere and make a huge mess. So don't do that. And once you have this piece released all the way to the back, put the tube in, and tighten, and it's ready to go. We've got our first piece cut and ready to go. And I just, leaning it out, if you're by yourself, you have someone to help you, or sawhorses, you can set the piece out. We're gonna put some of that construction adhesive on the back of it now, the liquid nail, and just kind of want to get it a good spread out design. It doesn't have to be like painted on the back. You just want enough for it to help tack it up there. A little premature. So anyways, so it doesn't have to be exact. It's just enough to hold it up. Some people may do it a little different, or depending on what you're gluing it onto, you may need to put a little bit more. This is how we've done this on a couple projects, and it seems to work out really well. And that might have even actually been too much, to be honest. I could probably go half as much because the nails are going to do a lot of the work. So get some on the back, stick it on the wall, and start going. All right, so the first piece going up. All right, and let me borrow that level. And we use that 4-foot level like I talked about earlier. Looks really good on one side, and as I figured, the ceiling is super not level, but that's 80-year-old house, 90-year-old house. So we can cover this top piece with some crown. I'm not too worried about that. I just want to make sure that the boards themselves are level. Put a couple in to hold it in place. Now we are lucky enough to have shiplap behind everything, so I can just nail freely. You'd want to mark the studs prior, or if you're going to trust the nails just going into sheetrock only. Otherwise, you're going to want to mark the studs before you put this up. Simple process. Pull your tape measure, mark the studs, use your level to make straight lines, and then you have them marked all the way down the wall, and then you can nail into them. Like I said, we're lucky for these types of projects because we have shiplap behind all this paneling, which means it's solid wood. And just to be clear, when I said we have shiplap behind this, it's like old wood siding with shiplap behind that. So you're probably thinking I'm using fake shiplap in a room where I have access to the real stuff. But in order to get to it, I'd have to demo the paneling, and then I'd have to get the siding off, and then I'd have to hope that behind all that wood siding is also the shiplap. This is an exterior room, or what used to be an exterior room in our house. So that's why we're going the route of just using the fake stuff to make it look cool without doing the full demo. All right, so now we're gonna make about 10 or 11 cuts of these boards to put down that one wall. So do the cuts, we'll bring them in and then put that entire wall up so you guys can take a look. And for the cuts, we're gonna use a 12-inch sliding miter saw. If you don't have one that slides, it may not hit a full 8-inch board, hence the reason why we bought this one. It's just most of the stuff we cut is larger. So we're gonna actually stack maybe 2 or 3 of these together at a time when we make the cuts and see how it handles that. And since we've got a bunch of boards together, we're gonna clamp them. a couple of these pieces here that need an electrical outlet cut. So for this, we're gonna use the jigsaw. It's just a rigid jigsaw. It's a kind that you just plug in. It's not cordless. This is what I found to be the easiest type of thing to cut out a shape like this. So that's what we're gonna do. Anytime you come to an electrical outlet or something on the wall, the jigsaw is the best bet. If it happened to be completely in the center, you would just drill some corner holes at the corners with just like a regular drill bit, then insert the jigsaw blade into the hole, and then that's how you would cut out the shape. But these are pretty easy because they're right on the edge. All right, so we got the electrical box part cut out. We're gonna take that back inside, and then we're just gonna kind of blaze through the rest of this. Anytime that we find something cool, we'll stop, or something difficult, we'll stop and show you guys what we ran into. Otherwise, we're just gonna try to kind of get this thing done over the next couple of days and check back in once we are ready for paint. All right, so we got this wall up and painted. I'll show it a little bit closer here in a second. And the next step is there's a wall behind me that we're gonna do. It's the other long wall. And then my wife got these up here. There's like one little strip, and then there's another strip right here as well. So that is what we are doing tonight. Sorry, the light's weird. This room has like a really bad ceiling fan that we also have to change. And down here, here's how one of those outlet cutouts turned out. And you know, it's fine for a plate to cover it. And on this wall, we're gonna have a couple more spots. We've got the switch is there, and then also a 2-gang plug box right there. So we have to get those cut around as we're doing the planks on this wall. All right, same thing as before. We're gonna do the liquid nails on there first. We wanna make sure we use that big level on the bottom before we set that piece in place. And then the nice thing about using the liquid nail is that it does kind of tack it up there a little bit for you. So you still have to hold it, but it's not like it's gonna fall down immediately.
Feeling from the kickback from the air.
Okay, so we need to cut out this shape, and from the looks of it, it's going to be completely inside of one of the boards. I'm going to hold one of them up here really fast just to check. So, yep. So the way I do this, I'm going to hold it up underneath, and I'm going to mark on the board where I need my cuts to be. Around 1 inch, and maybe a little shy, because I want to try to leave the top of these exposed here. And then also maybe here at 5 1/4. And these type of squares are good, the plastic ones, because you can mark on them easy. You can mark on the metal ones too, but it just doesn't show up as well. That's why I keep a plastic one around. The alternative way to do this would be to just simply take your tape measure and just measure the height. So in this case, I know that the total distance here is, let's say I need to have clearance above these little pieces that stick out. 4.5 inches total. You're gonna write that down on something. That's your total height, and we already have the width here. And then remember, we have a little bit of a gap between these two boards, so you can just draw something on the wall, and you can see how far down you need to go. And we are about 3/4 inch or so down this way. And this is not the best tape measure ever. So we're somewhere in there as far as our top line. And if you remember, we're at 4.5 inches. So I'm gonna use my 1 inch mark there. 1, 2, 3, 4.5. And I'm gonna mark it again. Hope you guys can even see that, because I didn't check. But there's what that looks like if you couldn't see what I was drawing the entire time. So 4.5 inches this way. So basically just creating a box. Now in the shop, We're gonna cut holes in the corner, drill holes here. And then we'll use the jigsaw to cut out the square, and we'll bring it in and nail it to the wall. All right, so we've got a drill bit set up in here. I think this is a 3/8. It really doesn't matter. You just want something that is the size of your blade for your jigsaw so that the jigsaw blade can fit through the hole. Some people do this with a larger bit. To me, just get something that's big enough for that blade. We did make sure to get some glue around here on the back side of this just to help hold that together. And the plate will definitely cover over these and it will look just fine. All right, so we've got this wall wrapped up and that's what we're gonna be doing for tonight. And remember, over here we already have it painted. Over here we do not have it painted yet, but that is what this stuff looks like. So we're gonna jump back in once it's painted and kind of show how it looks finished. So we've got some paint on it and it is looking good. This is kind of the look that you're going for. We've got this one here. We've got to take a razor knife and kind of clean that gap out because these two pieces were a little bit bowed. But as you can tell, it looks pretty nice. We still have to cover the little chase up here. And then we got this wall and that wall done, and up here above there, and then down this side. So everything is looking really, really good. And that's the look that you're going for. All right, and that wraps us up on the shiplap install. We did get it painted. This is what it looks like. Got a couple of the walls done. I just wanted to show you guys basically the simple part of this process. There's really not that much to it. It's actually pretty easy. So this is that. Thank you guys for watching. We hope that this was helpful. If you were trying this project out for yourself, don't forget to check us out on social media and find more about what we're doing. And we will see you in the next project.